morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. We've been talking about crime and punishment for the past couple days, and I want to continue that in a more theoretical vein. The issue with our justice system is, well, to be honest, we can't really agree on the nature of crime. Why do people commit crimes? And the answer is we still ultimately don't know, and there's so many different reasons, none of them actually make sense. Let's consider something simple. Simple assault. No aggravated, no, let's not put anything out of it. Assault. Somebody gets mad, somebody hears about it, and somebody decides that's going to be the last time that they put up with, person B insulting them, and they react out of sheer instinct. You pop the person. Now, this is assuming non-lethal, it's still not pleasant, and then when they go down, either they think, why did I do that? Or that person deserved it. A lot of people feel very justified for the actions that they do. So again, when we consider simple assault, one guy popping another, yeah, we can agree one person needs to be punished and the other person needs some sort of restitution. And the idea behind this is redressing an imbalance, redressing an injustice. This is the theory. In fact, there's a lot of crimes that can never be addressed. Unaliving somebody, SAing somebody. There's no remedy in the world that can address those problems. And it presents a real problem for our judicial system because our theory can't really cope with that. And that's no insult to our system. It's something that's very difficult to cope with. But in this we also see when it's hard to redress a victim, we can also look at so-called victimless crimes. People will take from a big corporation and think, oh, it's a victimless crime. That corporation has billions of dollars. My little infraction isn't going to set them back anything. Cosmically, they're right, but practically every bit of theft, whether it be a stapler or whether it be some concocted scene like in, what was it, Superman, the one with Richard Pryor where he writes the programs to take all the rounded off decimals, thinking nobody's going to miss it, and then finds the check for however much it is. I think Office Space ran a similar scam. And they both were surprised that for a, quote, victimless, end quote, crime, it made them a heck of a lot of money. So there was a victim, it's just that you don't see it in increments. Shoplifting from Walmart. Sure, Walmart can actually afford to let that stuff go. They're raking in billions, but at the same token, they have a vested interest to protect themselves from theft. And normally, I'm not on the side of the big corporations. But in this case, yeah, even though Walmart's not going to notice that, how much is a pack of gum? Let's say $1. They're not going to notice that dollar in a cosmic sense, but it does increase prices. Hypocritically, they try to put up those signs, shoplifting costs us all. And it is technically true. And ultimately, you are stealing money from another person. While Walmart might be a corporate entity and doesn't exist in a real sense in any way, shape, or form, the people who run it are people, and not just the Waltons with their billions, but there's managers, there's employees and stuff like that. And they need to go to their boss and say, hey, can I have a raise? And their your boss says thefts are up 30%, there's no money in the budget for a raise, you are technically costing other people parts of their income. It's not a victimless crime. There's no such thing as a victimless crime. Speeding. Yes, okay. You didn't hurt anybody this time. But I can tell you, I've seen some really crazy stuff in my time, and just because my particular incident on that day did not hurt anybody aside from the city and the police person who witnessed it, it potentially could have. I get it. You're in the car, good song comes on, your foot becomes a little heavy because you're singing along to whatever your favorite song might be. I understand little stuff like that. Friday night, you want to get home. You get a by some miracle you get an open highway in front of you. Yeah, you're going to double time at home. I get it. Going through the school zone, dropping to 40 is a pain in the butt and no one's ever here anyway. Understood. But the potential is real. In all those situations I described you, there's a potential victim. And just because you got away with it today, you might get away with it 365 days a year for like 5, 7, 10 years. But if it catches up to you, and you never know, you're rolling the dice, but if it catches up to you, you are, unless you're a complete stone cold, dead in the heart, I don't even want to call you a person at that point, lizard folk, you're never going to be able to live the consequences of a parent or their child getting severely hurt or worse because you decided that you didn't want to slow down to 40 kilometers an hour. The potential victim is what must be addressed. This is what a lot of people don't understand. Victimless crimes. My next door neighbor, lovely person, we get along well, but her garbage can, the wheels on it are a little bit loose. And on occasion when the garbage guy drops it down, those wheels come loose. Now she knows I'm pretty active and I get things done, and maybe by accident things do get switched around, don't know. But it would be technically a victimless crime for her to take my garbage can and to leave hers there because I probably wouldn't notice. And I probably wouldn't. But is it a victimless crime? No, because I'm going to have to spend time talking to the city, calling them out to repair and all that sort of stuff, or give me a new one. So I've wasted time. Time is money. And how you choose to spend your time is how you choose to spend your money. It's frightening how many people don't understand this basic concept. And in a courtroom, in a judge's room, in anywhere that counts, they still don't know how to overcome this. People think if I punch you, it's a victimless crime. Because I'm not punching you hard. Hopefully. Hopefully you're not some sort of sadist that decides today's the day that someone's jaw is getting broken. No, you're just reaching out, you're lashing out in anger. Hopefully. If you plan it, that's an entirely different kind of thing. And that's what a judge and a lawyer and that entire dynamic have to work through when they're figuring out what are we going to do with this situation. And our judicial system does the best it can. It allows you to represent yourself. It allows the state to represent itself. It allows the victim to represent itself. And it's really a form of arbitration. That's not a terrible way to go about things. Let them talk to each other. Let them see if they can find a resolution. And if they agree, fantastic. And if not, well, good thing is we have all these codes and statutes and ministers and sinisters of this, that, the other thing that have all these recommended remedies and an entire body of laws that date back centuries, if not further. But sometimes crimes come into the system that just don't fit. they're still trying to figure out how to prosecute cyberbullying and stuff like that. And I was watching a case the other day where it was a gentleman and he was stealing Pokemon cards. Now, some of those cards can be worth a lot, and he was stealing the packs of them. Now, from experience, not with Pokemon, but with Magic the Gathering, I know most of the time you open those packs, you're going to get garbage. Maybe 1 in 50, 1 in 100 has something that's worth more than $1, at least long term anyway. So the judge didn't even know what the value of these cards were or potentially could be, and I'm going to call him a young adult because he seemed to be in his early 20s, had taken them so he could sell some of them to recoup his costs and make a bit of money and keep some to play with. Is this a victimless crime? Well, no, because he was stealing from one of the big box stores and selling them to the local gaming stores. So it's a double whammy here. You're inflicting a loss on a corporation, and you're technically fencing stolen property to the local mom and pop local gaming store. That's an interesting one to work with. And the judge, who's 68 years old, by the time any of these collectible card games were out, he was in his late 20s, early 30s as a rough guess. So he was never interested in that. Remember, back then there was a stigma, but the same token, I think he gave a fair judgment just based on the facts. And he had picked up right away on it that he understands these things are bought and sold, and, there's an agency in it. But these are the type of things that judges have to deal with every day. They're outside their level of experience because presumably most judges and lawyers don't habitually attack people, don't habitually steal. And I said most. There's plenty of experiences where lawyers and judges have been corrupt and lawyers are taking on cases they have no business taking on. But that's not the theory behind the legal system. The theory behind the legal system is that impartial people should be judging. And perhaps the less experience they have with a situation, the better it will be in some cases. Other ones, you want an experienced judge taking the reins. We're not too far away from the time, which I believe was 2019 or 2020, where some it was a high school athlete who had committed SA against one of his classmates, argued in court successfully he should not be held accountable because it might impact his future, and actually won. Now this is outrageous naturally, and I hope that's the last time I have to say those two letters in this episode. It's outrageous naturally, like that person has to live with what you did, but the judge decided, I guess for the greater good, I'll let this person go have a sports career. Yeah, that sports career needs to be shut down. And mistakes are going to happen from time to time. As I said, judges don't understand every single situation. I'm going to assume the judge was never a victim or an attacker. See, I'm trying very hard not to use those two letters. So they don't really have the experience to deal with that. And they're working not from a place of ignorance, that's not what I want to say, but from a place where understanding is difficult at best. Most people haven't been in that situation. A surprising number of people have been in that situation. But it's tough to go after the judge because while they have to be incredibly insensitive, and the lawyer had to have made an incredible argument to keep their client out of the big house, one would think anybody hearing those circumstances would make a different ruling. And this person has probably been disciplined. Because don't forget, the judges and lawyers don't get away with everything. Quite the opposite. They're called to account for every decision they make. Not a perfect justice system, and it's evolving all the time. We have these constitutional originalists that are running around saying this was what was written down in 1776 in 1869, whatever it might be. The world has changed. I know they're saying, oh, but these rights are absolute and stuff like that. The right is absolute, but our understanding of people has changed. We need to move forward. We need to really reevaluate our laws because, some of these silly things left over from the 1800s, there's websites devoted to them. Crazy laws from around the world. Can you believe in this country they punish you for eating ice cream on a Sunday? By the way, Sundays, as in the drink with ice cream and stuff, started off because kids liked pop, Coca-Cola, whatever you want to call it, with ice cream on it. And they did that because they didn't want to serve alcohol on Sundays. Yeah, somehow they thought they were making a difference before the eyes of their Lord with something so inane. But that's how they got around the laws. They just made it a very simple recipe. And you know what? We're still affected by that decision to this day. Laws need to be revised, and sometimes they need an intense revision. We don't know who we would entrust to do that. It would have to be a non-political front. It would have to be someone who is capable of saying, okay, I don't care whether you're a conservative, a liberal, a communist, an atheist, whatever you happen to have as an ism, I'm reforming these laws and making them so that everybody has a fair shake. The cyberbullying law is an important addition, but there's so many types of computer crime. Right now, everybody's had this. You get a phone number calling you from a number, and it's, hey, here's a scam. Let me come after you. The law doesn't have the tools it needs to deal with those scams. Now, again, it has to be a completely neutral person who's rewriting these laws. And that's the heck of it. Who are you going to find? And that's where we are at the present time. Because honestly, who would be so audacious and who would actually be able to go through that codex of laws and procedures to make it more fair? Don't know, but it needs to start happening. Maybe it needs to be a standing committee that you can't ride your horse in the middle of the street is no longer a law necessary in 2024. Just clip it to you can't ride your horse in the street without a special permit. Much simpler law, easier to understand. We'll leave that for other wiser people to decide. With that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, because sharing is caring. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Click the notification icon down below because that way you'll be informed every time there's a new episode. And we hope you have a fantastic day.